We're live, Mr. Wade. Are you, sir?
Good night, good night to our viewers, both at home and abroad. Again, welcome to our 366th edition of our Belizean Affairs show. It's always a pleasure to sit in the company of Mr. Leonard Brackett.
The pleasure is mine too,
And
Mr. Wade.
just for the record, tonight, being Monday night, is Mr. Gregory Brackett, our chairman ship for tonight. He runs the show for tonight. But as usual, he been in the back, queuing up something. So the show must go on, and we will banter until he shows up, and we will graciously hand the show over to him. Um, and we should also be joined by attorney at law, one of our regular guests, Ms. Sharon Pitts. She promised to brace us here tonight on her expertise and legal matters. And as always, we start our pro. There's a lot going on in our country, Leonard.
Yes,
A lot
sir.
going on, and I know the chairman has a very interesting program lined up for us tonight. Um, as usual, we start our program with a prayer and then followed by a reading, and then I'll ask Mr. Leonard Brackett to lead us in a prayer. Sir?
Yes, sir. I'll just bow my head and do a short prayer, Mr. Wade.
Thank you.
Divine loving Father, once again we come before thy presence, asking that thou would continue to have mercy upon us, to us our hearts, our desires, even our most secret thoughts, loving Father. We pray that thou mayest bless our family members, friends, and loved ones, each and every one of them, as if they were each mentioned by name and number. Please continue to bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership. We pray that thou mayest bless this country of the United States as well, its people and leadership, as well as the rest of humanity, especially those people who are in harm's way and are being hurt and sometimes killed for no justifiable reason. We pray that thou mayest provide for those who have need of food and clothes and shelter, those who have need of solace, loving Father, for the passing of their loved ones, and those who need comfort in various ways. Please grant them thy mercies, I pray. We pray also that thou mayest bless this program tonight, our Belizean Affairs programs, especially tonight as we speak. May thou give us the words with which to communicate to our people. Grant us wisdom, knowledge, understanding, endurance, perseverance, and please grant us a place of fortitude that we may not hold our tongues when we need to speak truth to power, even though sometimes it might be rough. Please grant us that fortitude to be able to do so without any fear or favor to anyone, especially as regards to our country of Belize and its people. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. Are you back, Mr. Chairman?
Amen. Thank you, Leonard. I will go
I
straight
see
to
I see our chairman is in the background, so he can put himself on when
yes.
he's ready. So
Let
we
me
just
go straight
continue.
to Let me go straight to the reading for tonight. Timothy 2, chapter 4, 1 to 10, and it reads, "I charge you in the presence of God and of Jesus Christ, who is to judge the living and the dead,
Amen.
and by his appearing and his kingdom, preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season. Revoke, reprove, rebuke, and exhort with complete patience and teaching. For the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but having itching eyes, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passion,
Mm-hmm.
and will turn away from listening to the truth and wander off into myths. As for you, always be sober minded, endure suffering, do not work of an do the work of an evangelist, fulfill your ministry, for I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure has come. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I
Mhm.
have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on
Amen.
that day,
Amen.
and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing. That's my reading, Leonard. Timothy chapter 4, 1 to 10.
It's a wonderful
And
reading, Mr.
thank
Chairman.
you. And I graciously pass over to our chairman, Mr. Gregory Brackett. Hi, brother. It's a pleasure sitting here in your company. And thank you. I know you were in the back queuing up, but thank you for appearing. And I graciously, myself and Leonard, pass the show over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Weir. Good night to both of you gentlemen.
Good night, Mr. Chairman.
Good night, sir.
Always a pleasure sitting virtually with you guys.
Before we
I
go
want
forward, Mr. Chairman, before we go forward, uh, I know you're aware that Ms. Spitz is planning to grace us tonight, and all we want to do is make sure that either you or I, having the ability to be able to bring her on, just be attentive to not leave her in the background for too long, no?
well, I can do that as
Thank
I'm
you.
looking at my big screen, so I
Yes, sir.
can see the whole thing.
Yes, sir. Okay, okay.
Thank you.
I'm just. I yield back, sir. I'm
Again,
sorry about interrupting.
thank you, sir. Again, I want to say good night to you, the people at home and abroad. Welcoming you to this 366th episode of Belizean Affairs.
That's a good number.
Tonight, gentlemen, I want to start the show by going back to something I have said for quite a while back. And I do not have no intention to go to a video on the topic because it seems to me that our Belizean people has been plagued with violence beyond what is called gang violence. I believe that the government wanted to do the 13th Amendment and they wanted to do that to get away from ruling from the High Court. But no, I want to point out here tonight because I believe the 13th Amendment is unconstitutional the way it is being framed. And I want to ask the question, why is the government not forcefully behind domestic violence as they are with the 13th Amendment? Mr. Wade, I go to you first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That domestic violence, is on a rise, and I think that they should do more. Um, for too long, domestic violence has been swept under the rug, especially when it comes to the perpetrator being in a high position, um, politically, connected, um, knowing someone or some minister or some mayor representative or some politically connected individuals. They always get away, and especially I bring this up because I could remember. I think I was like under 10 years old when Miss Nora Parham was hung for defending herself from a abuser, abusing husband. We know how that story went and how that ended up, and ever since, domestic violence has not been properly addressed. Um, it's so sad to see that again when the perpetrator is connected, how things plays out, um, or when the person taking that abuse know somebody in high places and take her complaint or his complaint, and you see how that plays out. But there's a saying always, that you never hear anything until it hits home, right?
Hmm.
So I could go on, Mr. Chairman, on lots of other domestic violence that ends up where the female got murdered, you know, badly beaten, stabbed up, chopped up, maim, harm, right? And that's just swept under the rug. And it goes to court. But for some reason, the judges, the magistrates, doesn't seems to want to do the right thing, right? So Mr. Chairman, I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'm glad that it starts hitting home. And I urge the system, this PUP government, because the executive in this country of the People's United Party, they runs everything. Everything there they runs, right? This country is run by executives, right? That's how this country believes it's been run. All branches of government is run by the executive. They would say different, but we here we sees we see it differently, and we see the truth how things plays out in the country of Belize. So I just hope and pray that they take domestic violence more serious, and if it even goes to the extent of hanging someone, just the same way Miss Nora Parham was hung, shouldn't be any different, right? So that's how I feel on that, Mr. Chairman, and I pass it back over to you.
I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask if you allow me the opportunity to read a part of the preamble of the Constitution of Belize in context of this topic that you brought up just now as the domestic violence issue. I won't belabor and take much time, just that I thought that I would like to express in our founding fathers' uh, way of expressing how the government is charged with the authority as well as the mandate required of it to do certain things on behalf of the society at large, including domestic violence. I would like to read section uh, uh, I would call it not section, but paragraph B of the preamble of our Constitution, which goes as follows: respect the principles of social justice, and therefore believe that the operations of the economic system, which is where a lot of our violence, domestic violence, come from, when the women have to be pleading to the husband to provide for their family, and the husband in his embarrassing state of mind as well as being turns around and try to bullyrag, as we'd call it back home, the female, which we always say is um, the weaker vessel or the weaker individual. And I'd just like to continue reading on, though, just for context, that the operations of the economic systems which the government is in charge of must result in the material resources of the community, being the whole country, being so distributed as to subserve the common good, that there should be adequate means of livelihood, such as if a woman, uh, as a wife, finds that the husband is not taking care of business and she needs to, in her own best interest, have a divorce and or leave the marriage, that she's not leaving the marriage penniless and or without any means of subsistence, that she as well should have an opportunity to go out there and make a living. Uh, uh, should be adequate means of livelihood for all, and the all meaning both women and as well as men. That labor should not be exploited or forced by economic necessity, either the labor of the individual who is employed or the labor of the woman who stays home and take care of her kids, because that's another labor unto itself as well, without which the man would not have the opportunity to go out and earn the living for the family. Now I'm talking about in the context of a generally classified family as we knew it before, where you have a husband work and the wife stays home and take care of the kid. But that's not necessarily the reality as we now know it today. Uh, by economic necessity to operate in inhumane conditions, but that there should be opportunity for advancement on the basis of recognition of merit, ability, and integrity, that equal protection should be given to children regardless of their social status, and that a just system should be ensured to provide for education and health on the basis of equality. I, I yield at that point because I have a lot that I would like to say about this, but I just wanted to preface what I'm about to say later on with that particular section B of the preamble of our constitution, because we do need to apply these things. We can't just have these constitutional requirements sit on a desk somewhere, and the ministers they are running the government and the country without any concern or attention to these issues. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
You're welcome, sir.
When I speak about domestic violence, I'm speaking about it straight across the board because we have violence against children, we have violence against babies, parents shaking up babies to get them to stop crying,
Hmm.
parents abusing their children because of want, and we have adults, male and female, that goes through it. But I want to go back to what I had said on this program, and I've been speaking it out for over 2 years when we brought up this topic. Domestic violence will not go away until the state enacts the laws that when a crime is reported, even if the person who makes the report wants to withdraw the charges, they cannot. The state picks it up. And I wanted to go even further than that. I want the legislature to pass these laws as well as to pass a law that if a victim files a complaint and they want to withdraw, they be charged for filing a false police report. This is the only way we can stop domestic violence. So, for those who want to condone it, if you make a report and try to withdraw, you will be the one being charged for filing a false police report. Mr. Wade, I go back to you.
On that issue there, Mr. Chairman, we see good point. You see it happen time and time again because not too long ago, reports and charges was filed on political people, right? People well connected, senator, a representative, a minister. For example, the one out on the key, right? I'm not going to call his name because that was public knowledge, right? So we see how these things play out, right? But why I'm saying is, like I previously said, is that like you rightfully said too, that these people should be charged. Also, you go and make a report and then eventually withdraw that report. You don't want to press charges anymore. They should be charged for making a false report, right? And then the state picks it up, right? But that is lacking, right? Enforcement is lacking when it comes to domestic violence, right? We see it plays out publicly in the news, in public domain. These people who perpetrate these crimes, and they get away with it. Their names mentioned for a couple times, and after that, get swept under the rug, right? There ought to be a stiffer laws passed. Like I mentioned, may she rest in peace, Miss Nora Parham. That's a typical example, and you see how long ago that had happened. On, like I say, she had a abusing husband, but what? He was a policeman. He was a policeman. So you see from how long these crimes are being covering up. And then when she finally got enough and defending herself, we see how that plays out. So where is the justice? And then, again, Mr. Chairman, we must fail to realize that there are some incident that these females are being threatened. You go make one report and kill you, and kill your man, and kill your grandma, you want to, everybody, right? So they have been threatened. So there's a lots of domestic abuse out there, Mr. Chairman, that goes unreported because of various reasons, right? So these ministers that has that portfolio, right? They should start to do the right thing and stop kicking the ball down the road and stop doing favoritism, right? And make these crimes go go away, or go unpunished. Call the judge, call the magistrate, don't do this and don't do that. Like I mentioned, executive power is that's what rules this country of Belize. Say no more on that.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. I choose to start with this topic because I really wanted to educate the people at home and abroad on the different aspects of domestic violence. When I said to you just a little while ago, domestic violence should be straight across the board because you have it against children, you have it against baby and between adults.
The elderly,
I especially brought that point up because I wanted to show a form of domestic violence in when a father abandoned his child and nearly got 15 years. That is also a form of domestic violence against a child. Now, if we are going to deal with such action harshly, 15 years, no one is wounded, no one is hurt, and the perpetrator in a father could have gotten 15 years, then why is it not feasible for in other forms of domestic violence, especially in relationships, we are not seeing individuals facing 15 years and above. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for bringing up this topic tonight. Thanks, you, thanks, Mr. Wade, for your contribution so far, and I know you have a lot more to say on this topic, as well as Mr. Chairman would have a lot more to say on it. We may not exhaust this particular topic tonight because under this category of domestic violence, it's a very large umbrella, and it deals with the whole cross sections of categories of individuals: child abuse, abuse of children against parents, parental abuse, uh, um, other extenuated family uh, abuse of family members, abuse of strangers against each other. You know, it's a wide spectrum. And whilst a lot of people might look at domestic abuse and focus strictly on their domestic abuse between male and female or between partners in life, husbands and wives, or whatever else not, domestic abuse is not a one-way street. It is more comparable to a highway with traffic going both ways. Because those of you who have studied this particular subject matter as myself, for which I also have a certificate in counseling, and I deal with some of these matters in various aspects at different times, those who are aware of the science behind human behavior and human relations and human attempting to have an edge over each other realize that domestic abuse is just one category of a vast, vast kingdom of human relations. And it goes both ways. Like I said, for example, yes, it is known and mostly propagated that men are the culprits when it comes to domestic violence between men and women. Why? Men is the stronger individual, it is presumed, which is not always the case, by the way. Please pay attention. It is not always the case that the man is the stronger person in an abusive relationship. There have been cases where women kill men because of difference. I'm not talking about the Miss Nora Parham case because that's historically we have discussed that particular case and seen where justice was never rendered from the get go. Okay, so I don't want to go back to that and or use that as a part of what I'm trying to articulate or specify here. I want to deal with just the same general concept that we're bantering in terms of the concept of domestic abuse, being that not only just men perpetrate domestic abuse, there are women who, because of what you call vengefulness, commit major heinous crimes against men. They don't get beat down like the woman get beat down by the man, okay, in that physical fashion or form of, brass knuckles and whatever it's not, and a beat down for the woman. But there are some women who commit heinous crimes against men in the sense that some of them are poisoned. Physically, literally, with actual poison. Others, their brains is messed with. They get what you call poisoned mind. They're set up to go and commit a crime or expect to commit a crime because of vengefulness. And some men are incapable of resisting or recognizing that that is the case. And as a result, they fall in the trap. They feel that because they're married to the woman, they own the woman. And anytime the woman want to do what I say, they want to raise their hand and want to beat down the woman in the ground. I've had 6 female descendants of man, children, I'm talking about specifically. Well, I didn't have them, my wife did. Or I would say my former wife did. Because men not got children. I'm being a little facetious now, right? I'm just trying to lighten the air. But the fact is that I've always said it to all my daughters. Whenever you have a problem among yourself, as married couples, always try to see how you can work it out before resorting to any kind of violence, either violence against somebody else or violence against you. Because God forbid that anybody raising a hand to my daughters, then they will be given a account of, for sure. The law will protect their rights, but not necessarily their skin, because I'm coming for them. It's a simple thing like that. I do not uphold or tolerate or expect that no one should own my daughter because I'm married to them and misuse, and abuse my daughters then. And I don't expect my daughters then to do the same in reverse to any young man. Because I have some young men that are being abused by some young lady for various reasons. I don't need to get into specific categories. A lot of people out there are aware of it. That is part of how our society is structured and how our society behaves. But it ought not to be, because violence begat violence. Only that the men feel like, well, they could exert the violence and expect to get away with it. Now, as to what my cousin alluded to, Mr. Chairman, earlier, as you said, you would like to have a law where if somebody claims that they're suffering from domestic abuse and they lodge a complaint at the police station, are we to take it on the surface that that is a legitimate complaint and just arbitrarily and capriciously classify the person against who that complaint is being made of as being a malevolent person and or somebody that needs to go to jail or somebody that needs to suffer some major other consequences? Because like I said, in my case, I am not too sure that I would be able to wait for the judge and the jury to pronounce their verdict. I'm coming to the rescue of my daughters whenever and however I need to at the time. Because while the law will protect your rights, it may not be in a position to protect your skin at each and every instant. So you might be dead and gone, and your rights are going to be protected by the law by declaring that that person who killed you or offed you supposed to go to jail or supposed to get hanged or whatever other consequences. I am not of that type of temperament. But I'm saying, when you think about just blaming the men for domestic abuse, it goes both ways, which is why it is necessary, as the chairman had mentioned, that a case should be prosecuted to find out what the truth is. And if that person is found guilty, let him suffer the consequences. But there will be cases and situations where you'll find out that that person was never guilty of the crime that was alleged against them. They could have been set up, or the accusation could have been made against them for various reasons, for political reasons, for economic reasons, for whatever, 1,001 different reasons. The bottom line, we cannot empower women to believe that because they make an allegation, that automatically that allegation is sanctioned and or becomes the law. In other words, you can't empower the female sex over the male or empower the male over the female for them to arbitrarily and capriciously go and make accusations that does not stand up to the requirements of the law in order to find a person guilty. Because that's what is there
Mr.
for.
Brackett,
I yield back, sir. Go ahead. I
thank
have a
you,
lot
sir.
to say.
That is
I yield back.
why I specifically say it has to be straight across the board because we have cases where some females use it as a weapon against people. We have cases where, in the case of teenagers, some raise their age to a higher birth date and they entrap other people. But I want to say that the first blame we should blame is pointing our fingers towards society. Society has the greatest and the biggest blame because when you have a government that is not playing its role externally and internally, this is what we end up with. It is hard for some of these young ladies that goes through this issue to walk away when there is no support by our government, there's no resources or places that they can go that will help them. So the only way for them to survive is to stick in that relationship because many have tried to walk away. Do they have a shelter once they do that? Some can't go back home. They don't have a parent
Hmm.
that would take them back in. They have to fend for themselves. And they go through this. They don't want to come forward. They end up with one, two, three, maybe four kids before they can get away. And you know what? That is the end of their career.
Hmm.
So we need to speak about it openly and truthfully across the board and put the blame where it should go. As I said, society, the role of government for not playing or doing what it's supposed to do. And we can look back over the years since our independence. We can check the record of both blue and red, past and present government. How much long-term jobs have any of these parties created to keep our population or working class individuals in a job to help suffice themselves.
That is why I brought up that paragraph B of the Constitution of our preamble, Mr. Chairman, because I know that in covering this particular subject, we will have to get to the point where the economics plays a major role, and I wanted to show where the government has its responsibility to afford the people the opportunity for a woman not to have to depend on a man or a man have to depend on a woman for survival. That if things come to the worst, that at least they can move on, separate, and be able to find a job and find a means of subsistence or survival. That's why I brought that particular because
And you are
I
totally
yield back, sir.
right,
I yield back.
Mr. Brackett. Because here in Belize we don't have what you call in the United States WLID. And you know exactly what I'm speaking about. In the United States, in order to up the femininity and have equalization, they came up with the idea that since a female is well educated as a male, they should be paid the same wages. We don't have that in Belize. And as well as we don't have that, as I said, there is no resources to help these people that go through these events. How can we change that? The government of Belize have received enormous help from our citizens living in the diaspora. The government of Belize has received enough aid from foreign entities to deal with these things. The government of Belize has sit in the House and speak about equal job opportunity and to bar discrimination for handicapped individuals. But the government of Belize have not stepped out of the block and put these words into action. But yet we can see them going back to the House with supplementaries time and time over, wanting to get funds to do this, to do that. And at the end of the day, nothing has ever been done with the funds that should go into the right department to assist in what we are speaking about here tonight.
Mr. Chairman, the government appears to be in the interest of doing things for themselves, their cronies, and their political supporters. And even if they were to do as much for that category, you can say then that at least they're doing something. But like with the Budna case, in the file, there's less than nothing, which is exactly what you are alluding to. The government goes and asks for these funds, and the people in the society at the lowest level at 68% poverty rate are the ones that are suffering the most, and some of them can't even get a job. Then the black young people them in the society, they go and they pick them up and all kind of bogus SOEs and all that stuff, give them a police record, and then later on they can't get a job. So they grow up, have children, can't take care of themselves and or their children. They can't give women them that are making these children with any kind of economic support, and the women have to find a way to raise the kids. The end result is that they end up having all kind of problems and issues. But those fat politicians, they get a salary, they get all kind of perks, and they get all kind of ability to hustle on the side. So while they are eating and their belly is full, they're telling the empty crocus bag to stand up. Then the child say, well, you could have one bag of beg. Like I said, one of my teachers, I'm a technical one time, an English teacher, right? I was basically trying to clown around in the class and just basically trying to point out to the teacher that While he's teaching us English in his English class, you have to remember that it talks to Creole people. And there is such a thing as a bag, as an English word, but there's no such thing as a bag as an English word, what we call crocus bag or paper bag. So you could have one crocus bag or paper bag. So the full crocus bag or paper bag would tell hungry belly, stand up. But that's not possible when that belly is hungry because you not got the energy to lift up the rest of the body. So that was a joke that I had cut back then, some 50 odd years ago. But it is still relevant today as we're having this discussion. Because as I said, or as I read from the preamble, section B, the assets of the government should subserve the community to where all members of the community can have a fair shot at being able to get a job, earn a living, and contribute something, some taxes back to the government for the ongoing survival of the country as a whole. But these guys are not looking after the country in that kind of way. All they're worried about is the big hustle. How come up front they can garner some kind of assets or resource either from the government or from private people or wherever, so that they and their family and friends can be well off and to
Mr.
help the rest of
Brackett,
the society. I
I
yield back.
am sure, I'm very much sure that there is ways to deal with it and ways to curb crime. And I can give you an example. Just recently, we heard about the city council paying 1.7 million to get the grass cut in Belize. Now imagine if you take that 1.7 million and you divide it in Southside in all the different places and have these young men doing the grass cutting.
It's a job, it's an honest living. That's what the
You
Constitution is
see what
talking
I'm
about in the
saying?
preamble. How is it that you
It
can
will put
visualize that, Mr. Chairman, and the leaders of our country can't?
these young men to work, and that income will help them to take care of their home. So it is possible to do these things, but they don't want to do that because I saw a commercial just tonight. Present government talking about jobs they created, and in that commercial, you know what I saw? A BPO. The government created that job. Imagine a BPO. When
No, they
on the
didn't.
record, they have not created any long-term job, blue or red. Every single job is a part-time job. They pave the streets, they use these young men, it's a part-time job. Everything they do are part-time. And like I said, cutting the grass in Belize, that can be a long-term job, simple. But they're not looking to do that. I
Mr.
go to
Chairman,
you, Mr.
uh,
Wade.
Mr. Wade, can I steal a word from just to say something to the chairman quickly? Mr. Chairman, exactly as you're talking about being able to cut the grass and giving that 1 point something million dollars contract for somebody to make a big amount of money off of as profit, a decent minded Belizean, in fact, just the very same city council itself could hire dozens of people, okay, and give them, when we waka waka, probably a couple $1,000 at the most, okay, and let those people have their job to cut the grass for the city and cut grass for other people yard with the same machinery and make a living to be able to survive. And it will cost them less than that $1.8 million per annum to get the whole city taken care of. Okay? Right now, you have a couple of people in Belize that are doing it on their own. But you don't have no Creole, no Garifuna, or no other people other than just a few Spanish people that come from Melchor, where then we work on thing and they go around and they walk around and they cut people grass and That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about providing and creating jobs so that some of these young people that are hanging around and that they happen to be brutalizing often can have a way of subsistence. And I think you bring up the point correctly by referring to the cutting of the grass and the amount of money that is being put out there. And none of that is going to the people that really need the assistance. It's going to somebody that's going to own a company who's going to get that contract and he's going to figure out how many people he can get to do the job so he can keep as much of the money for himself. And that's what it's all about. It's just a big hustle. I yield back, Mr. Chairman, and sorry, Mr. Wade, for interjecting on your time in there just now, sir. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Proceed, Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well said there, Leonard. You know, like I said earlier, the government need to do better. This kind of action, like you just prescribed there, Greg and Leonard, and many more abuse of the taxpayers' purse, and blatantly. Would hire someone to do it because is a friend, and the mayor say, well, come, you are my friend, come and do an interior design here, and just charge me so much, and because I need to repay you for whatever help you have given me, and that's and the list goes on, Mr. Chairman, right? And great. So and then leave the people's purse empty, right? Empty, right? Then we have all these departments, in the government structure, like for instance the human development department, and comprised of different little branches, right? They have a lot of talking, and they say, oh yeah, this is what we've been doing, and this is, we are against this, and we have so much counselors, and the females, that been abused could come in, and because this bull crap, they don't need that. Right? And that's just a lot of bunch of hot air, right? There's nothing in place in Belize that I know about that would make lives better for these females that are being abused, these domestic violence people that get caught up in it. There's nothing in place. There's no help. Not in Belize. But these so-called ministers and so-called heads of department, because that's how I label them, so-called, right? They're not doing their jobs, right? And they go to the media and have a press conference. Oh yeah, well, this is what we will do for for the human development department, and there's so much money we have, and we'll make life better for these people. And like you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, nothing is being done. Nothing. So the two-party system that we've been having in this country, that's the way they operate, right? Make it looks like, yeah, don't worry, domestic violence, we're taking care of that. That has been addressed, and to hell with being addressed. We need action. We need to see where people could go and get help, where females could go and get legal advice. The Courtney guy, when he had that profile, oh yeah, we will put an office in Belize, and where free attorney and free advice and free this and free that. Where the hell is that? Tell me where tell me where that's at, right? Show me, so I could tell people that I know that has been abused and need that kind of free legal advice, so I could tell them, I could route them to that damn office. But what? They get a hell of a lot of damn taxpayers' money to say that, and this is the money for that, and we have, then where the hell is the money? Where the hell is this department that these people can go? That's just one issue, that's just one. Do they have a safe house that they can go? No. Do they have somewhere that they could go and get a hot meal with a female with 4 kids and 3 kids and 2 kids?
No.
when their husband chased the hell out of them out of a house with some damn machete or even with a shotgun or pistol whip? Where the hell these females can go? These children could go and lay their heads. You know, all these things are very serious issues, Mr. Chairman.
That's why
Right?
some of the women stay in those abusive situations for so long. Because they
Exactly.
don't see a way out.
Right? So, very good topic, Mr. Chairman. We all birthed from a woman. And tell me a man that wasn't birthed from a woman. Show me one and I'll put a gun to my head and I blow my brains out. Right? And to treat that society, that you know, the female society, treat women that way, look upon them when they go and make a report like, yeah, make a mockery out of them. When they go and collect their damn child support at the courthouse, there's no money because that money has already been stolen. Right? It happens. It happens.
Embezzled.
Right? And then women are being turned around, Mr. Chairman, when they go and get that little $50 or $20. I don't know what the hell, excuse my French, they charge these people per week for child support, right? But when they go and get, I round it off to $50. When they go and get that measly little stinking $50, the clerk there will say, well, there is no money. When that man's money has been deducted, right? Being deducted goes straight to the damn treasury. Right? And when the female goes there, well, you know, you come a little bit too late, you know, you come too early, you know, already till next week. So if them depend for that to buy a damn pack of bread or buy some milk, they'll die, right? And cause the female to do other things, right? So it's a big problem, Mr. Chairman, right? And the government, past and present, PUP and UDP, is to be blamed. They should be held criminally for the things they do. But who have the balls and the guts to take these big, mighty people to court? Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Weir. I also want to point out, Mr. Weir, it's not only the women, but you don't hear them speaking about the men also who is getting abused. You don't hear them talking about all the ills these men go through. And as I said before, we are talking about domestic violence. But what happens to the people living in the streets, the ones that have a mental capacity that no one wants to talk about, even though they pass a bill for equal opportunity? But yet, nobody is speaking about these people. These people with a system that has no one to look after them. Couple times these same people got killed by the police.
We see it over and over a repetitious cycle, Mr. Chairman. Sorry about that.
Thank you. And it continues because there's no input for it. And look what they did. The one and only people who is helping in this situation, they can't even get their salary yet. The teachers who are like mothers and fathers to these kids in the school, who repetitiously buy food for them and make sure they eat when they come to school, help them with uniform, pencils, pen and books. You don't hear about these things, but yet they are the ones who are treated unfairly. The one with these kids who keep the economy floating. And with that said, I want to go to the tape because we will have 16 days of activism for domestic violence, and it's only fair for me to play the tape as part of our show.
So the advocacy comes from everybody, right? One organization cannot do it. Everybody have to speak up. One of the things we know, we should never judge that person who is going through that violent and traumatic experience. And we have to support them so that they make the decision that is best for them, and especially when children are involved. And so that support is so important. However, we do advise, we want persons to take advantages of the service. And so if you see something, call 911. Don't pull out the phone and record it and put it on Facebook. Call 911 and just give the information where and what is happening. Call the police and then they should respond. We don't need to give names and give details, but we need to look after each other like we did years ago, and love Belize and love the people of Belize. We have to help. We have to help. Everybody has a part to play.
Again, as I was saying, because we are speaking about this straight across the board, and as I mentioned before, I want to hold the system accountable, which is government. Because instead of the government trying to play its role, getting with private sectors and creating jobs, they are not doing that. They are too busy taking away jobs and closing Belizean shops. You don't see the grandmother bun shop, the Panelists shop. They are so busy taking away jobs, they don't have time to create it. And a prime example right now is the way transportation is being privatized under the government. They intend to bring in 150 buses. If we can look back before, they have given these bus owners, these corporations, a certain time to upgrade their buses. What happened if some of these bus owners had upgraded and now you want to come with 150 buses? That's simply saying you will run them out of business in violation of the Constitution.
Which was always the plan, Mr. Chairman.
You see what I'm saying? It means now that all those bus operators, you will bring those bus and present it to them, and you know what happens? They will not be working for themselves. All of a sudden now, they will get a piece of pie from you because of privatization. With that, I go to you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's a very travesty, you know, uh, um, against the bus, the long-standing bus owners, right? And you see this minister, Mr. Zabani, he pulls up with, he says, he has the support of 13 or something bus owners who is with him. I don't just quote me on the number, but I just draw that number. But he had more than enough to override whatever poll was out there. So now these individuals that he garnered, we don't know how that worked. They were promised something, and most of them might be some PUP cronies with some big, who get some nice bus runs, and we know how this country run, and we know how the hell these people do business, right? So this Zabani guy, he's happy because he put to the nation and to the world that he has the support, and most of the people want this privatization and thing, and he know however he went ahead and did that, right? Not legal, because everything these people do is illegal. In my book, everything. They don't do things the right way. And like you rightfully says, Mr. Chairman, this same man, the transport man before, oh yeah, and even the Briseño guy and all of them, oh no, you could go to the bank and take a loan out and buy a new bus. Or you could go to, no, we already set that, or go to DFC. If I could quote them, yeah, go to DFC and you could get a loan to upgrade your bus, or so like you write, what happened if these people, right? The PUP ones are fine, but they have some UDP ones that has buses. Because I'm talking how things are run in Belize, right? So these UDP one now gonna left holding the bukut, right? When these buses come in. And then what happened to their families? Because their families depend on that livelihood and that sustainability, right? So when that is yanked off from so what are these people doing? What are these brilliant minds? What are these people who you elect, who no gun vote for massively? What are they thinking? Is this the way they're going to repay you? Is this the way they are repaying you? And to constantly lying to the Belizean people at all is well? Lying about jobs they created, when in fact they know damn well they have not created no damn job in Belize. They know how jobs are being created in Belize, because most of us aren't stupid, right? But they're going to go to the nation and the world and say, yeah, this is what we're doing, right? And go and borrow in the name of doing right by the Belizean people. Go and borrow all these millions and billions of dollars in the name of to better off the livelihood of the Belizean people, when they know damn well that that's not what they're going to do. They know damn well what they're going to do with the money. It happens repetitiously. 2025, where we at? Same crap over and over. You listen to them in the house. You need so much money for this, so much money for that, so much. I get so worked up because of the constant, fleecing. The constant fleecing of the Belizean people. The poor people. They go and they do things in the name of the Belizean people. In my name too, because I'm a Belizean, right? Born Belizean, right? And then, these people need to be held accountable. Past PUP and UDP ministers who had fleeced this country and used the poor people, the name of the Belizean people. They go out of this country and lobby and get all the money to do right, Mr. Chairman. The name that they go and get that money in is to do right for the Belizean people. Those suckers, they keep lying. Nobody holds them accountable. I say enough is enough of that crap, because we have lots of our brothers and sisters who are in desperate needs, starving, poverty, right? Can't manage. You talk about the ones on the street, Mr. Chairman, the people walking the streets, right? How they end up. Some of them get knocked down by drunk drivers or by ministers or by things, and because they're street people, they get dragged into the bushes, dump, and that death goes just like that. It happens. I could call name, I could if you, right? And I could call incidents that happen, right? But this is Belize. But we need to talk more about this, it's so sad to see how we as a society encourages criminals and these crooks. And they stand up in the house, these senators, these self-appointed people, right? Just keep fleecing, robbing. Past and present government does the same crap to the Belizean people. And they keep getting away with it. That's what I got to say on that. Back to you,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wade. But again, it comes back to society. Because when society is not doing what is right to help its people, and executive power is ruined. Only the above profit from everything that is happening. We are here speaking about domestic violence and how it can be curbed. Domestic violence happens when you have financial issues, when you are not able to economize, when you can't see your way, everything is tumbling down on you,
It
and the
happens.
worst will not go away when, example, public servants are getting paid monthly. Every time before you get your check, you have to go to a pawn shop. You have to go to quick stop to borrow. It's a cycle just to make men meet. And sometimes you wait, your pay does not even go in, and it's the same cycle over and over.
Amen to that.
Belizean people living in a designer system designed to keep the rich and get the rich richer and keep the poor class poor. And I can prove what I'm saying, and I will do it tonight right here. Because let's take, for instance, the claim about motorcycles. Here we go again, trying to take away from the poor class people who use these motorcycles to transport back and forth to work, to take their kids to school, and now the government wants 300% from them. Now imagine that, 300%.
Plus 2 weeks of
And
their
before I
time,
go to
Mr.
you, Mr.
Chairman. Plus
Brackett,
2 weeks of their time.
before I go to you, Mr. Brackett, let's go to the chair.
We came up with the 300 having done an analysis where we look at the trainer would have to get motorcycles to do training. The trainer will have to maintain the motorcycles. The trainer will have to buy fuel.
Capital investment.
Yes. The trainer will have to make copies of the manuals. He might have to rent a place to do training. So we look at those things that the trainer will have those expenses to cover. The curriculum for the training is going to be developed by the Department of Transport.
Okay.
And then we are going to give it to the certified trainers. Some people are saying that this has been done as another way for government to come up, right? Government to collect 300, right? That's a total lie.
Yeah, it's not for government.
It is not for government. Yes, we listed ITVET as a possible trainer, but for the most part, the training is going to be done by the private sector. And we would hope that the different motorcycle clubs would apply and partake in the training because they do have their membership. And they know the membership, and they should be able to have people within the club that have wealth of experience in the maneuvering of motorcycles on our highways.
Now, people at home and abroad, I want you to listen to this. Full faith line. The question is, you heard him say private sector is going to help do the training. Once private sector is mentioned, which local Belizean can open or rent anywhere to do training, to buy motorcycles, to get the gas? That is ludicrous. Because the only people I know can do that, maybe the Chinese, maybe the Hindus, maybe the Indians, or are this narrative that is being pushed has to do with private sector that is funding the present government election fees. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good observation, sir. The truth of the matter is that almost any and everything that the government does is about cornering anything that has to do with money making so that they can either get it for themselves, their cronies, or people who are going to, like you said earlier, provide a little kickback for their political support, campaign financing, basically, for which there is no law in the country. I want to say that when the gentleman speaks about the person who are going to buy the motorcycles and who are going to do the handbooks, them, we just spoke about those handbooks the other night, didn't we? And I mentioned to you that when Mr. Tablada used to be the one doing it privately so many decades ago, the man used to do that out of his own pocket. Now they're coming up with a grand scheme, like everything else. They want to make a law for it and put it into somebody's hand so somebody else make the money for them to benefit from. It's never about the public and the people them that actually going to pony up the money. It's all about somebody else receiving that money and being able to pass on money cut to them, one way or another. That's historically what has been the case. We have seen that over and over and over. Everything they get involved with, as in the case of the bus company where they want to make, they never came up with this idea to create no bus company so that everybody that's in the bus transportation business currently or just recently gets an opportunity to get upgrade. No. They want to get rid of some of those people. And the ones that they have agreements with are going to be the one that going to get the new runs, the new buses, the support, control the industry, make the money. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Make the money. With this motorcycle thing, at the end of the day, what it's going to be about? Make the money. Who's going to make the money? Who's going to derive benefit from it? They're not worried about the people that are crashing and getting injured and their family need help or whatever, or insurances, for example, to benefit the people or to help, in the disaster. No, it's about make the money. How are we going to swing this deal for make the money? Well, as we're going to make for make it look like we try help, but for make the money. There's no two ways about it. Whenever the government gets involved in any activities in the country, it's about making some money, and very seldom that money goes to the treasury. Most of the time, that money that is made goes to some private hands. You hear what Mr. Chester was talking about just now? The private people. Some of them already have their own motorcycle groups and gangs and whatever else not. They will make the money, but the special people going to collect for them part of the money too. Did he mention about any other money going to the treasury to help pay the government expenses? No.
Mr. Brackett,
Money will come out of the government pocket to pay the government expenses.
Mr.
And the private
Brackett,
people will make for their money and give some to the politicians. That's all it's all
Mr.
about. Make the
Brackett,
money.
if I may,
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
the private people comes back to exactly what I said about government not doing its role. Government supposed to get with the private people, which is private sector, and create jobs for the local people. They are
For the,
not doing that. You
for
see
the
what is
economy.
happening? They are not trying to help the localized people create jobs and all that. They want to take away all the money that they can get from the local people and put it into other private investments.
Modern
I
slavery,
go
Mr.
back to
Chairman.
you, sir.
Modern slavery, sir. I yield back. I'd just like to say it's all about modern slavery at the end of the day. Nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett, for your input. I
You're
want
welcome,
to
sir.
thank you, Mr. Wade, for your input on this topic because tonight's topic, as I said, goes straight across the board. We had an open conversation and we needed to enlighten the people at home and abroad. There is more to this topic that we are speaking about because we can see what is happening. The local people, the people in the streets are being left out. Look at the people who is going to jail. Regular local people for a cockfight. Regular local people for stealing minor stuff. Getting a lot of time. But none of the above ever go. So we need to speak about these things. How can we get involved when the government has no intention to get the regular citizen involved? Everything they do is around or including foreign investors.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Brown.
about do we all remember that at the time the last election was held, which was March of this year, yeah, because we're still in this year. When the election was held in March, the government was supposed to read on 1st of April a new budget. They were running out of resources and money, and therefore they had to spend money that was not part of the previous budget or the new budget that was coming online. So they kept on spending money after they got reelected. They never did read the budget as it was supposed to have been done on 1st of April until many months after. All that time, they were making deals behind the scene, spending a lot of millions of dollars without any budgetary authorization. They read the budget many months after, and that budget was not sufficient, so they had to go and get supplementals over and over and over. As a matter of fact, Thursday's meeting a few days ago was about getting a few $100 million, supposedly to cover the shortfall from the previous from the budget again. And we're not at April yet for the new budget to be read, which means that between now and April, they want to spend more money again because the government have to pay its wage bill and they have to put some in a for their pocket and deal with their own personal issues. Every time they go and get money, whether it's supplemental or loans, it's adding to the pressures that put the society in a bind because the economy of the country is not vibrant enough or big enough to provide the necessary tax base to get enough money to keep the government running. So we constantly have to get supplementals and borrow money, go in at a hole, even though sometimes the money that they are borrowing is at a cheap rate. We're still borrowing and we're still going into a deeper hole. And the more they keep borrowing, the deeper the hole becomes. But these guys don't care because when they walk away from the political scene, they're not going to be the ones to deal with the damage done. They'll be walking away with their kitty quite well taken care of. Okay? They will have a lot of national assets accrued to themselves personally or to their family. And as a matter of fact, they're all going to get a retirement for life, not just for a few days or a few months or a few years, for life. So after all the damage that they're doing currently, they will be handsomely rewarded. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Wade, I go to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On this topic, we have talked about, this ludicrous $300, and I have put in my 2 cents as how it could have done better. I will not elaborate on that. Um, but you see where Mr. Williams went to do his interview, right? Which station he went, right? So they accompany him with his big idea, right? Um, and that's the scenario that between that station and Mr. Williams, that's the scenario that they left the nation with.
Friendly
But I say
territory.
this, yes, I say this to say, Mr. Chairman, is that we have transport department across this country, right? And what is their job, right? I had talked about a 2-page pamphlet, right? There is no need to go and rent no office space or all this crap that Mr. Williams is talking about,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could be done by the government, right? But Mr. Chairman and Leonard, there's somebody that they want to reward. See the NHI and Mr. Williams. I say this to our medium. What happened to this billions of billions of Bolido money? Bolido money, where there is no end to the amount, as per some of the ministers, and I say it publicly in the house. Lots of money they come from the Bolido. And as the lady Narda Garcia, right? Who she topic the Bolido money too. Why not take a little portion of that and fund this building, this office space, this little 20 by 20, buy a motorcycle, or in fact beg it. There are donations on motorcycles that's been given from the U.S. Embassy, from other embassies, from different the Mennonite community that reward these politicians handsomely. Go and beg a damn motorcycle for each district. So all that crap you come in with, it's not going to fly with a lot of people.
Mr. Wade, they constantly get motorcycle given to them. Aren't we aware of that? That is dozens sometimes. That is
So
Chinese
my
and other
thing,
people.
Leonard and Mr. Chairman, why are you penalizing? Like you say, Mr. Chairman, that they have to accumulate certain money. Leonard, you say the money has to come in because of. So they're fighting all over and all scrambling around to find that money, right? And at the end of the day, who are they penalizing? That's my big question. Who are they penalizing? Say no more. It's so sad to see how these people, Mr. Chairman, when they get a little position or appointed to a little office or something, it's so sad to see how they fail to realize where they came from, right? And they fail to realize a lot of things, right? And they fail to realize that, the people that they left behind and the people that they see suffering. No, their mind goes, they're smelling whiskey right away. They don't see I call it the red top anymore. They smell whiskey.
Or the bad
right?
man.
Or right? And they smell turkey and ham right? And all that. Right? And it's so sad how power gets to these people. And then in a little time down the road, you meet the boy, I sorry I said this, or sorry I said that, and look where he cast and look, right? But the damage is already done. Right? So for those who knows better, shame on you. For those who continue to perpetrate these kinds of action and try to play along with the card and the music that the people who give you this position, do, and you play along with their games, and then you neglect, you fail to realize the evil that you are doing, shame on you, right? And it's so sad that it takes our very own people, Mr. Chairman, to be hurting their very same people. our very same people hurting their very own people. See no more on that. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Uh,
Wade,
M- Mr. Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
yes,
Adding something to what Mr. Wade said just now. They will go and have their party again, and then big chongenge at the Prime Minister's house, like he said they had last Christmas when they were eating the leftovers. Remember that discussion and planning how to evade what they had already committed to the court that they were going to do in regards to the referendum act
Yeah.
and about doing the redistricting. He came out after the fact and told us what they were doing in details. So I'm just being funny now when I recall that and say that's what they're probably going to do between now and Christmas, because I mean we got at least 2 more holidays, 2 more celebration time that they come wrong. And very likely they might be planning again during Christmas, the same thing like what they did less than a year ago. But I yield back, sir. Just wanted to show that in there just for badness, you
thank
know.
you, Mr. Brackett.
Welcome, Mr. Chairman.
What I wanted to say to you, the people at home and abroad, it is a narrative that the Department of Transport and the CEO is pushing out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not afraid to say so or call them out for it.
Likewise.
The narrative is specifying and they are classifying these young men that ride these cycles as they are causing these accidents. When the statistics show and the CEO of our F&G insurance company is specifying that in the case of motorcycle accidents, most of the time when they go to them, it's the vehicle who caused the accident. So I
And they
want
are
to
and they
repeat
are the
that
one that have,
again.
and the insurance company are the ones who are actually having to settle these cases. Okay, so they know what they're talking about.
So you are pushing a narrative, and that narrative is to make money because the statistics show that most of these accidents with motorcycles are caused by the bigger vehicles, which are motor vehicles. With that said, Mr. Wade, I go to you for the closing.
Before Mr. Wade had alluded to in one of our previous shows that the motorcycle people are being blamed, but they're not necessarily the one to be blamed. Okay, it's the vehicles, as we saw on Albert Street and at the corner of Albert Street and Dean Street, where Mr. Chairman, you had alluded as well to the fact that the police mobile pickup truck violated the traffic rules and end up causing the female police officer to run into the side of their vehicle because they took away the right away from her. Okay, so these people are talking through their mouth, then they talk through their ears, then they talk with their eyes, then they talk with their nose, then they talk with all parts of their body, and they're still not doing what's right. How can we get them to do what's right is the question. I yield back, sir. Thank you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Leonard, thank you. It's always a pleasure. And let me say this quickly. The MIDH, the Roadworks Department that runs by Julius Espat, I challenge him right here, right? He just get a hefty, I think, 34 or nearly 5 or so many more millions for a portion of road. And I that has gotten millions already.
The George Price Road.
Right?
Western
Millions
Road.
already. So I ask you, Mr. Julius Espat, can you come to the Belizean people and the taxpayers and tell them how much money your department has getting already for that same portion of road, to fix that same portion of road? come to the Belizean people and you the man, you always throw a tantrum and all that and this and that and like you the baddest man or whatever and have all the fancy word and come to the Belizean people and tell them how much money that you sucker them, right? And how it has been spent. Tell them how it's been spent. Show them. You always like show. Bring your receipt book. You travel with one bag all the time. Load up the bag with the receipts the next time you go to the house, right? So I like to say this to you also. For me, 65% of the accidents, motorcycle and vehicle, are caused by poor road condition and the bad situation of the roads in this country, Mr. Man, right? So that's what I got to say on that, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Williams, shame on you, right? Ask Mr. Briceño and Miss Garcia to give you some Bolido money to make some pamphlet, beg some motorcycle, if that is your agenda and that is your scenario, right? And do the right thing by the Belizean people and stop being that way, right? Because that is uncalled for, right? And Mr. Briceño, I think I call for your resignation, you and most of your cabinet members and your ministers and your area representatives, right? Because the people of this nation, 85% of the people of Belize right now have no confidence in your government and in the People's United Party, right? I am not a fan of the UDP, but we need an independent government, right? We need anything other than this two-party system that we have that has us where we are 2025. And if we continue, they will have us, if the people give them that mandate again, they will do the same damn thing to you that they did the last term and the last term and the last term. Nothing better. Plus, one more thing, Mr. Briceño, if you didn't know, I know if you're back in the country, the ICJ has started its hearing. Okay? I don't know if you are back in the country, Mr. Man, but you told the Belizean people and the world that you have the Belizean people and the PUP government has an ironclad case. That's your word. That is a win down the line. Win, 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 win. Well, I hold you accountable, Mr. Man, right? But it starts today, okay? And on that note, it's always a pleasure to sit in your company, Mr. Chairman, Leonard. It's always a pleasure. And I hope that the Belizean people who watch us, learn something. Some that they might like what I say, especially myself. They might like some of the things that I say, and they might not like some of the things that I say. But as for me, I could give a hoot because I speak the way I feel, right? It's up to you if you don't want to speak the way you feel, right? It's up to you. But me, I say exactly how I feel. Fair no one. Mr. Chairman, thank you for a nice program. Leonard, thank you.
Thank you too, Mr.
You want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I? Yes. You referred to MIDH.
MIDH. That's the new
The
name
leader?
we gave it.
The leader,
The leader, Mr. Espat.
Mr.
Julius
Julius
Espat.
Espat, representing the Kaya South.
Kaya South. That's the man I'm talking about. Right.
You better mind that man. When you say that the man supposed to bring in receipts and all the documents saying I leave back where you always like trouble with, man, the man go tell you like what you tell the UDP representative, You remember what you tell the UDP representative just a few days ago?
Oh, that he spent too much time in sleep or something, or
No,
what?
lazy.
He's lazy.
He's lazy.
Oh, he's not a working man.
Wait. You know what? Come to his office so he could show the documents
Oh,
because he have all the documents that you have to. Man, the man call him and say, well, you know what, I can look at the documents because he have it
Oh.
all at your office.
Don't want to go to
The
his
man-
office. I want him to show the Belizean people.
The requirements for that debate that the man was trying to have and trying to insult the other representative on the other side of the aisle requires that he answered the question that was being asked of him, and that he should have came prepared to answer those questions because they're submitted ahead of time. Okay, but he don't try to play slick and pretend that he was grandstanding there and educating the other gentleman on what the process, procedures, and protocols are, when in fact he was in violation of those process, procedures, and protocols, and playing the fool at that, while
Power
pretending
drunk.
to be slick and smart.
Power drunk.
Mr. Brackett,
Man, the man
let
tell you on the office, you know.
Mr.
You
Brackett,
know,
let me answer that for you.
It wasn't a question, Mr.
The
Chairman.
power of silence in Mr. Pat have already answered Mr. Ispat to $143,000 of their government. So who is the smarter one? Who is ahead? The man already sued them for defamation and came up with $143,000. So who is ahead?
He failed to do his job, and he was trying to be funny.
With that said, though, I want to say good night
Good night.
to you, the people at home and abroad, and thank you for tuning in.
Good night, Mr. Chairman. Great
Thank you.
program.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.